Yeah, it was a good start to the tournament. I mean, we obviously didn't play very well last time we were out at A&M, so we needed to bounce back. We've bounced back off losses pretty well all year. I think our margin of victory after a loss is 20+, so we did that again today. Now, the question is, can we continue to play like this for the next 2 days? But I thought our guys were very focused. They were really into the defensive end, which is what we needed to be. We made a change in the lineup, obviously. Took our sixth man of the year in the SEC and put him in the starting lineup. I just thought we were struggling offensively to start games. We get to the end of the 4-minute media timeout and have 2 points and 3 points. Today we started 13-6, so it made sense. And I think, I thought Jaden Bradley played well in his minutes too. So it wasn't necessarily a demotion to Jaden, because Jaden came to me last night and told me he thought I should start Jahvon. It's the kind of group we've got. Guys are willing to do whatever they need to do to help the team be better. So then me and JQ and Jaden Bradley sat down, had a discussion. I think it's better when Clowney's at the 5, Brandon's at the 4. There's more shooting on the floor. When Jaden's in, that way he can play to his strengths and get the ball downhill a little bit when there's a little bit more shooting with a stretch 5 in there. So that's why we decided to do that. Wasn't that we were displeased with Jaden or anything. I just thought it made sense, and it worked well today. So I thought our guys did a good job opening the game. I thought we did a good job closing the half. I think over the final 12 minutes of the first half, they were 3 for 19. We went into the half great. Start of the second half wasn't as good. I thought Tolu Smith got off a little bit, and then we just hung around 20. I was hoping not to play the starters a ton there after the first 4 minutes of the second half. We had to bring them in, and they did a good job opening it back up, the back-to-back threes. Clowney was able to hit the one. I'll say this too. Noah Gurley's a guy that, as a senior, we've talked about his leadership all year, and I think you see it. For a guy to have some DNPs late in the year, for a fifth-year senior that was a big contributor, started a lot of games last year, to come in and have himself mentally ready to go. This is a team that plays big. Cam Matthews is more traditional 4-man. So, we decided to go bigger with Curley at the 4 more often. Stepped up, went 3 or 4 from 3. He's had great practices. He was ready to go. I think he embodies our team, to be honest with you. Like, unbelievable culture of guys just caring about their teammates. He's continued to lead, never pouted. And we needed him today. We struggled. Some of our guys that our second leading scorer, Mark Sears, struggled to shoot the ball today. I don't expect that shooting the next 2 days, but we needed somebody to step up. We had a season-high 20 assists, which is the second most ever in the SEC tournament for Alabama basketball. So our guys are unselfish. They move the ball. They care about each other. We only had 7 turnovers, so I thought our guards did a great job taking care of the ball. And then lastly, it was Charles' birthday today. Our guys are great. They gave him a big, huge birthday celebration at breakfast this morning, sang to him. He had 5 birthday blocks. I thought he controlled the paint pretty well. So told him he won the hard hat for all the blue-collar points. So a lot of guys stepped up and contributed, but proud of our team. We got 1 down. We're going to take it 1 at a time. We've been here in Nashville before. It's a fun tournament. We're going to have whoever we end up playing. It's going to be a tough game tomorrow.
All right, if you raise your hand, and for either of the student athletes that started on the left side on front row.
Yeah, Coach just mentioned it. Charles' birthday today. How happy were you guys for him to see him get 11, 6, and 5 blocks today?
Was that for both players? Yes. Which player? Brandon?
I feel like as a team, we're just happy for him. He turned 21. I feel like my vocals were the best out of the group with singing, which, I'm not going to get into that. But no, I think we're all happy for him.
Very happy for him. That's my guy right there, Big Chuck.
All right, let's come to the front row here in the middle.
Brandon, given your involvement on some level in a fatal shooting, how do you reconcile not missing any playing time after that occurred?
Respectfully, I'm not going to be able to say on that.
I'm not asking about the incident. I'm asking about playing past that.
Well, man, just really lean on my teammates, really.
Raise your hand. Other questions? I think we have one on the end, front row here.
Yeah, Brandon, NJQ, turnovers were so low. I think one of the lowest of the season at 7, and that's been a problem recently. How did you guys limit that, or what were kind of the points of emphasis this week?
Jahvon, would you take that first?
I had 3 today. I got to be better on my part with the turnovers, but it was good to have single-digit turnovers in this game. I think that that really had our offense flowing.
Was that same for both players?
Yeah. Okay. I feel like us limiting turnovers is just another way to win games. That's when our offense is not working or if we're not getting stops. So I feel like that's just another way to win the game.
I think we had a question right here in the center on the front row.
This is for Jahvon. In the last month or so, it looks like you've got a step of quickness back. I know it was a long process coming back from the knee. When did you really start feeling like yourself? You really look like the JQ of 2 years ago.
I think it was just a mindset change. Earlier in the year, I was kind of in my head. It was, it was a long journey coming back, and this last month or so, I've kind of been out there playing, trying to forget about the injury. Like I'm just hooping, and I think it's starting to show.
Okay, question in the middle, center aisle.
Brandon, Darius and Michael Davis were both indicted today on capital murder charges. Just want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Again, I'm not going to be able to say on that.
Raise your hand if you have other questions. Okay, let's go to the far back. I see one in the way back, and then we'll work our way back up.
Just for Jahvon, when Coach was talking about Jaden coming to him and saying you should be in the starting lineup, what does that mean to you, and how have you seen him kind of mature to come to that decision?
Man, it's just the culture that we have here. Like, time and time again, even 2 years ago, like, that was the culture with that team. You recognize that somebody's getting it going a couple games in, and you're like, look, Coach, we might have to, make a change or something. And that's just, man, it's crazy because, that's really something that we've embodied as a program since I've gotten to Alabama. And I don't know any other program in the country that'll really do that. So, I'm happy for Jaden. He showed a lot with that yesterday, but I'm not surprised at all.
All right, let's go to the center aisle over there. We got time for just maybe one or two more.
This question is for Jahvon, right here. In the indictment, Darius Miles owned a gun that was used to kill somebody. Do you own a gun?
No.
Okay, last question. Okay, let's go to the second row right here. Last question.
Brandon, you mentioned leaning on your teammates during this. Can you elaborate on what that's meant to you and just getting through this?
I mean, it means the world. Just knowing that I have another family that's away from home. So me leaning on them is just another family figure. So.
All right, we'll excuse the student athletes. You can return to the locker room. All right, we're ready to continue on with Coach Oats. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. Let's go ahead and start in the center aisle right here.
Coach, could you further expand on Noah Gurley and Charles? Of course, the birthday boy, he played, did a great job protecting the rim, but Noah being ready to go, I thought was a key to the run at the end of the first half to kind of give you the lead where you put the game away pretty much.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Noah. He's been practicing great. He's been leading even when he didn't play. And I'm just couldn't be happier for him. I mean, he steps up. He goes 3 or 4 from 3. I mean, this is a guy that, even though he hasn't played as much as he would have liked, and me and him have talked. I mean, he understands it. He plays the 4. Clowney starts at the 4. Probably going to be a first-round pick. Brandon Miller gets bumped down to the 4. It's going to be a lottery pick. He's playing behind 2 really talented guys, but he's just stayed with it, led the team as a leader, stayed in the gym, worked his tail off. I mean, I was in the training room 2 days ago. He came in full out sweat, probably 3-4 hours after practice was over. I said, what have you been doing? I mean, he was drenched. So he just got done with a shooting workout. So there's a kid that never dropped his head because he wasn't playing, never pouted. He's a high character kid. All of our kids are pretty high character kids, but he's at the top, and I'm really happy for him. Charles, it's great. He had a good game on his birthday. I kind of got on him there in the first 4 minutes of the second half. I thought he kind of let Tolu get going. I thought he did a great job in the first half, but when he came back in, he had some blocks, kind of sealed the game. Not sure what they cut it to, maybe 14, I think, if I remember right. And then we kind of inserted some of those starters back in. Charles had some blocks. We made a couple threes, opened it back up to 20, and guys all gave Charles a lot of love in the locker room when we gave him the hard hat because it's his birthday. So happy birthday to Chuck.
You have a question let's go on the end on the front here.
Yeah, Nate, two if I can. One, I mean, that's a team that I think was 23rd in turnover percentage on defense, and you guys only had 7. What do you think was key there? And then the second question, how important was it that this first game in the postseason, you guys kind of changed the trends that had been happening the past few games?
Oh, it's big. And we've been talking about getting better starts. I sat down in the hotel room with our starting group before the A&M game, talked about what we need to do, and that's why I was so moved, pleased with Jaden Bradley. He came to me and said, Coach, I think Jahvon Quinerly should start. He kind of, and I've talked to him about different lineups that maybe fit him a little better. So it's just such an unselfish group. They really just want to do what's best for the team all the time. So, I think, Jahvon's been playing really well. It gives us a little bit more shooting, and teams can't sag us quite as much. And I thought we came out of the gate, but it wasn't just Jahvon inserted for Jaden. It was more the whole team. We got to get stops. We got to run off our stops, and only having 7 turnovers is big because even when you don't shoot it particularly well, we didn't shoot it bad. 35% is not bad, but that was bolstered by Noah Gurley's 3 of 4, Dom Welch's 1 of 1. The rest of the team that typically had shot it pretty well for us all year, if you kind of take those guys out, didn't shoot it great, but we didn't turn it over, rebounded it well enough, and, we ended up having a decent offensive game against a really good defensive team. Was there a second question that I didn't answer? Okay. All right. Thanks, Nick.
All right, let's come to the front row right here on the right side.
Nate, what were the nature of the discussions? Who was involved in deciding to continue to play Brandon and Jaden Bradley? And was there any discussion of disclosing that they were present at the scene of the shooting?
It's been a difficult situation, as you understand. We're dealing with a criminal matter. So taking the facts from law enforcement as they do their investigation. As we got the facts from them, this was a decision made based on all the facts we had with obviously my boss, Greg Byrne, his boss, Dr. Bell, and the board of trustees, and everybody was comfortable. And based on the information we had, Brandon didn't break any school policy or team policy. So I was comfortable with that decision that was made.
Let's go to the second row, right here in the middle.
Nate, you talked about the starters wanting to give them a break after the under 4 in the second half. How valuable was it for them to get some rest today, but also for some of the backups to get some postseason experience in this first game here today? And then on the line of backups, do you have an update on Dom Welch?
Yeah, I thought it was great. We've played these tournaments before where you have to play 3 straight games. Mississippi State had to go to overtime yesterday. So they had to play their starters extra minutes. I was hoping after we pull our starters after the first 4 minutes of the second half that we would only have to play them very limited, and we were able to do that. I think we just had to put them in there when it got cut to 14 and blew it back up to 20. I really wanted to see some bench guys play well. Namari Burnett's got huge upside. I wanted to see him. He hit the 1-3, drove it, got a layup. thought he was pretty good in his minutes. You know, would have liked to see Rylan make a few shots, get his confidence back, but Noah Gurley was great. You know, I think we can insert him in any of these next 2 games, and he's got the confidence to know that he's playing well. Dom Welch hit his 1-3. I thought he was good. You know, we got different kind of guys we can play in different situations, but Dom's got a tailbone bruise. So, you know, it's a big-time play he took, taking that charge. It's unfortunate that Namari fouled the guy from behind her. That would have been a great charge and kind of embodies what we're about. A kid comes off the bench and gives his body up for the betterment of the team. But hopefully he can get some treatment, some rehab, and be able to go, because I like where his head's at. I think he's been playing well. He's been practicing really hard.
We got time for just a couple more. I think we got one waiting on the end back over there. Y'all see a hand? Raise your hand. Yeah, right here.
Nate, it's been almost 2 months since a young woman lost her life on Alabama's campus. In the time since, have you spoken to or attempted to speak to any member of her family?
Listen, this whole situation's been, obviously, as you know, hard to deal with. It's tragic, like, to have any involvement in a young woman losing her life. What you ask is a private matter that I'm not going to discuss publicly with everybody. And a lot of this is it's just hard to deal with, to be honest with you, but it's a private matter.
Coach, I understand you're probably hamstrung by some of this. I'm just trying to figure out if you made the attempt.
Like I said, it's a private matter. I'm not going to speak publicly on it.
We're going to take the last question right here in the center aisle.
Coach, in regards to Brandon and Jaden, you just spoke about school policy, team policy when it comes to the situation that went on. Do you have a policy when it comes to weapons on your basketball team? And did both players have to go in front of the student conduct board in determination if they were going to be eligible to play, or was that left up to the university period?
Yeah, our players are required to follow the university policy on guns, which essentially bans them on campus. So, yeah, we do have a policy. And then with that other stuff, I mean, obviously this is an ongoing investigation. There's a lot of stuff that's happened that's not privy to public knowledge, and I'm just not able to speak on everything.
All right. Thank you. Excuse me. We're done. We got to get Mississippi State up. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Brought to you by Alabama Beef Farmers and Ranchers.